Hey guys, we're going to show you how to do an install here on an X-Star. We'll show you the tab orientation. You have two edges. The outside edge will always have the open portion right there by my right hand. Will always point out, and the hydro thruster always angles outward also. Now that we know the tab orientation, set it aside and grab some tape. Let's put a piece of tape down on the hole where the hinge is going to go. Alright, so now that we've got the tape on the boat, the next step is to mount the hinge to the boat. There's a couple ways to do this. One, you could just remove the hinge from the tab, hold the hinge up there and mark the holes before we drill them. Or, if the boat allows, you can just leave the hinge on the tab and hold the tab and hinge up against the boat and mark the holes. That way is slightly more challenging, but is quite a bit faster. On this boat today, we're going to be removing the hinge from the tab to use it as a mounting template, as this is probably the easiest way and safest. Alright, so now that we've got the hinge off the tab, there's a couple things we need to pay attention to. If you notice, the hinge is slightly shorter than the tab. There is another area for mounting, about 1 inch in either direction. You need to pay close attention to this when you are mocking everything up. So make sure you choose the correct holes. On this boat, we like to use the farthest outside hole for the first hole in the hinge, so that your hinge will be closest to the outside of the boat when it's mounted. So as we're holding the hinge in the tab up to the boat, we want to pay close attention to the inside edge now. If you look, the tab will be very close to the inside edge. We want to get it as close as possible without hitting the big cutout area to my left. Once you've got everything mounted and mocked up, you remove the tab, hold the hinge up and get it as close to the bottom of the boat as you can. Now you'll notice, due to the back of the boat, we're going to be on a slight angle upwards, roughly about 6 degrees, to follow the bottom of the boat. Once we've done that, we're going to mark all 6 holes in the hinge. So after you mark the 6 holes in the hinge, it is important to just do a quick check over to make sure there's nothing in the way inside your boat. There shouldn't be, but it's always good to remove the back carpet piece and look. So the only 2 drill bits you're going to need to do the install on the back of the boat is a 3/16 and a 21/64. First thing you're going to do is take the 3/16 drill bit, run it in reverse, and just burn off a little bit of the gel coat just to make a mark on each one of the holes. Now we're going to take a 21/64 drill bit. We're going to run it in reverse also. Now we're going to burn off a larger area of gel coat. You're going to want to burn all the gel coat around the bit, just down into the fiberglass. I want to give you a good view of what this is supposed to look like, because it's pretty important. If you look closely, you do not see any gel coat in any of the holes. Alright, so now that we've done that, we're going to take the 3/16 drill bit, we're going to put it in forward, and then we're going to drill all the way through the hole. So once you get all the holes drilled, you're going to grab some silicone, and we're going to fill up each hole full of silicone. Now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and mount the hinge back onto the tab. remembering to put it in the same spot that we did when we mocked everything up. In this case, and in most cases, it should be closest to the outside edge of the tab, with the hinge on the bottom of the tab. And now that you've got the hinge mounted onto the tab, we're going to mount the hinge and the tab to the boat. So take the 1¼ inch number 12 screws supplied in your kit and hold the tab and everything up to the boat. Put a screw in there and just gently run one end to hold everything in place. After you've done that, take the remainder of the screws and run those in also, running everything down evenly, as in being careful not to get the hinge in any kind of bind as you're tightening everything up. Now that we've got the tab snug on the boat, we're going to grab the actuator out of the Linco box. Pay close attention to the couple bags that are in there, as we don't want to lose those. So we're going to go ahead and mount the Linco actuator into the lower mounting bracket in the center top hole as shown. At this point, go ahead and mount the upper mounting bracket onto the actuator. It's the small triangle piece that comes with your kit. Now, you're going to grab your phone, and if you don't already have it, I want you to download an app called Angle Finder. It kind of looks like this. You can also use your compass on your phone. You're going to hold this up to the bottom of your boat on your hull, and you're going to click Calibrate to zero it out. Okay, so now with the actuator and the upper mounting bracket mounted on the actuator, we're going to leave the actuator fully retracted, just like it comes. You're going to take a spacer and you're going to slide that spacer that should be supplied in your kit. If not, don't worry, it's just a 3/4 inch piece of plastic. You're going to put that piece between the tab and the hinge as shown, and it's going to hold the actuator up against the hole in the upper mounting bracket. The correct positioning should be about a 1/2 inch between the swim platform bracket and the very tip of the tab. Once you've found that position, you're going to take a marker and mark that position on the tape that you put on the hole. So now take a battery, a drill battery, anything in the 12 to 18 volt range will be fine. And we're going to fully extend the actuator. It should come out about 2¼ inches. Now we're going to take the actuator and hold it up against the hole on the mark that we had made. Okay, now we're going to check with our phone and the Angle Finder app by putting the phone on the bottom of the hole, hit Calibrate to zero it out, and now we're going to hold the phone on the tab with it in the same spot that we've marked earlier on the hole. You should see anywhere from a range from 12 to 9 degrees. Anywhere in that range is great. If you're anywhere farther than that off, give us a call. We can maybe help walk you through it. In this case, we were right on the money. So go ahead and remove the actuator from the tab and set it aside. Then remove the upper mounting bracket off the actuator, and we're going to hold it up against the hole as shown. At this point, we're going to mark all 3 holes on the outside edges of the triangle. Do not worry about the center hole at this time. So once you've marked all the holes for your upper mounting bracket, just the 3 holes, not worrying about the center at this time, you're going to take your 3/16 drill bit and do the same process you did when drilling out the holes for the hinge on the tab. You're going to run it in reverse to make a small dimple. When you get done with that, you're going to take your 21/64 and burn off the remaining area of the gel coat, and then when you're done with that, take your 3/16 and run it in forward and drill completely through the hole. So now let's take the upper mounting bracket and just put a couple screws in it just to kind of hold it in place. We're going to use it as a template to drill out the center hole. So go ahead and run just 2 screws in it just to hold it in place. So once you got the couple screws in the upper mounting bracket, you're going to have to drill out the center hole in the upper mounting bracket. You're going to take a 21/64 drill bit. Now, if your boat is slid too far forward on the trailer, or maybe just your bunks extend too far out the back, it's going to make this process difficult because your tab will hit the bunks and will not let you fold it down far enough to get it out of the way. There's a couple ways to fix this problem. One, take it to the lake and slide it back before you start this whole process. Or two, you can just jack up the back of the boat like we did, just for this part while you're drilling out the hole. Now that you've drilled the hole out, remove the upper mounting bracket from the boat. Take your silicone and silicone just the 3 holes on the corners. Do not silicone the center hole. So now we're ready to run the wire for the actuator through the hole. First thing you're going to do is take the wire and run it through the front side of the upper mounting bracket for your actuator. After you do that, there's a little cone, rubber cone supplied with your kit. You're going to run that onto the wire next. You're going to feed all that down to the actuator. Just kind of push the cone up inside that upper mounting bracket and leave yourself a couple inches of wire space right there. That's going to come in handy later. Now we're going to take the wire. We're just going to kind of feed it through. This may be a little bit difficult, as in the inside there's usually going to be some carpet you have to push through. You may have to run your drill bit in there to clean it out a little bit more, but usually you can just kind of twist it and get it going, and eventually it'll go through. So once you get the wire through the hole, put the upper mounting bracket up against the hole and start to run the screws in. These are going to be the longer number 12 screws supplied in your kit. Run the 3 screws in evenly. This is a slightly curved surface that we are mounting the upper mounting bracket to, so just pay special attention and make sure everything's run down even. Once you've got the upper mounting bracket mounted, take the Lenco actuator, and inside the box there should be some packets with hardware. Find the right bolt that fits through the upper mounting bracket and gives you just enough threads on the back side to run the nylon lock nut down. Go ahead and do that at this point. Once you've mounted the actuator to the upper mounting bracket and the lock nut on the back side secure and tight, it's now time to mount the actuator into the lower mounting bracket. In your Lenco kit, there are 2 black spacers, a long one and a short one. It's important that you put these on the pin that goes through the lower mounting bracket, as these keep the actuator from coming in contact with the lower mounting bracket when it's extending and retracting. Also, if you notice what pin we're using the top center hole in the lower mounting bracket, because that's the one we used when we mocked everything up. Don't forget to secure the pin with the cotter pin supplied in your kit. So now you're ready to check the deployment angle of the tab. With the tab fully extended, use Angle Finder, zero it out on the hull, and check it on your tab. You should have an angle of anywhere from 12 to 9 degrees. Now, take the wire from the Lenco actuator, take your battery, and fully retract the actuator. Verify that it doesn't hit anything, as you should have already done this, but this is a good time to double check. You can also take